Have you ever had a goal or a dream that you want to accomplish? Maybe start a YouTube channel or your copywriting career, or just pursue anything in general, a blog, TikTok videos, go preach, become a public speaker, whatever your goal is. But you've held yourself back because you didn't feel worthy. You didn't feel like you were good enough, and you feel powerless. You feel voiceless. You see the years go by, and it doesn't get any better. It just keeps getting worse and worse. If you ever felt that way, dude, I felt I've gone, I'll say, a huge part of my life feeling that way until not that long ago when I was. It's a work in progress, but let's say that it's improved so much. And I want to give you some ideas and some thoughts. And these are based on my beliefs on Christianity. And this is going to be a different video than the ones that I usually do, which are about copywriting and getting clients or getting better at writing and sharing my business journey. But I figured that if I was going to give you skills, if I was going to be sharing skills, I also like have to talk about the internal work I do to be able to continue showing up every single day, and even when I don't feel like it, even when things get hard. And a huge part of that is, man, most of it, I'll say, like, dude, everything is my relationship with Jesus Christ. It is my belief in God. And what I'm about to share with you, you don't need to share my beliefs. You don't need to be a Christian to actually benefit from it, because self-esteem is one of those things where you don't get it right, if you don't get the value, like if you don't value yourself, if your sense of self-worth is flawed, dude, you're gonna have a hard time in business. You're gonna have a hard time asking for money. You're going to have a hard time in life in general. You will settle for relationships that, that you'll settle for less than what you deserved, and you will settle for what you think subconsciously that you deserve. That's the craziest thing. That's the thing about self-esteem. So, quick story. I grew up. When I was growing up, I was very skinny. I was very little too, very like short, and I was also very shy, and I was also very in my head all the times, and I used to overthink things a lot, and that became worse when I came to the USA around age 14 because I had to learn English. And I remember, like, the teachers will ask my opinion, they'll ask me to participate in class, and the first time I did it, I said something dumb, and I couldn't articulate it right. My accent was funny, and then everybody started laughing, and that was so painful, dude, because I thought that everybody was laughing at me. So I went my entire high school years without speaking, without voicing my opinion, and I would take F's. I would take the lowest grade if that meant that I would keep myself safe by not speaking up, by not doing a presentation, by not stepping up in the front. And dude, I thought that that pattern was going to be over after I finished high school, because I was like, okay, high school kids are stupid, and it's just gonna get better. And it wasn't that I didn't have the answers. I wasn't. It wasn't that I wasn't smart either. I always had the best explanations for everything. I was a sharp thinker. I would see a concept, dude, and I would just break it down in my mind. But when it came out time to speak it, dude, I would just not do it. I would go home and just think about how or what I could have said but didn't say it. And it was tough, dude. It was tough. And then college came around, then my adult life came around, and that thing just didn't go away, and it started affecting me, like in the way I handle my friendships, and in the way I handle my relationships, like romantic relationships. And then it also transcended into my business. I wasn't like asking for money. I wasn't even making these videos, even though I've been wanting to make them for 8 years. And just the thought that I didn't have anything worth listening to stopped me from doing it. Just the thought that my ideas were not good enough stopped me from doing that. So my self-esteem and my sense of self-worth was screwed. And but in that process, I've done a lot of internal work to figure out. I've done, like meditations. I've done, this was prior to me encountering God. I've done what you call this, like Wing Hof, motivational speeches. Dude, I've done therapy. I've even thought about going to Peru and do ayahuasca at some point in my life to see if that could fix it. If that could teach me to love myself, let go of the freaking blockages or whatever. And so I understand, I got a very clear picture of what self-esteem is and what it means. But it wasn't until, until I encountered God that my self-esteem was restored and my sense of self-worth became healthy. And I'm gonna share some Bible verses in a little bit, and I'm also gonna break it down in stories. You don't need to be a Christian to benefit from what I'm about to share with you, because it's a story that is really, really beautiful and profound. But before I get into that, the definition of self-esteem is how you value and perceive yourself based on your beliefs and opinion of others. By the way, this is the definition on Google. If you're a psychologist, correct me if I'm wrong. But then the other one is self-esteem is how we value and perceive ourselves. It's based on our opinions and beliefs about ourselves, which can feel difficult to change. Okay, so the key word right there is value. It's like the value we put on ourselves. And for something to have value, there has to be an agreement between two entities, right? So for example, if I say that this iPhone is worth $1,000, you have to agree that this is $1,000 for me to actually be able to trade it with you for $1,000. So self-esteem is actually an agreement that we make with other people about how much we are worth. And sometimes we make that agreement with other people. Sometimes we make it with things of the past. We let the past define what we're worth. So for example, if we had success in the past, if we were a failure in the past, we let those things define us. And so I wanna share a story. By the way, I'm fasting today. I'm doing this for spiritual reasons. When I fast, I do feel like a stronger connection with God, and that is what I'm aiming for. And also to get clarity about 2025 and what is it that I need to work on. And this is what came up for me: worthiness. Feeling worthy of actually making these videos and speaking to a camera. And I feel very worthy speaking about copywriting, but speaking about things like this, things of God, is where I'm like, maybe I'm not a scholar. I'm not a person who just study the Bible all the time, but hey man, I have something to say and I'm gonna share it with you in hopes that you maybe are a little bit like me and that you benefit from it. So this is what I wanna share with you. This is for the Christians in the room. If you have the Bible, it's Mark 10:17-27. And it's the story of this guy called the young ruler. So there was this really wealthy guy. Think about it. If he was in terms of today, this guy will be, owning 100 Bitcoins, a Lamborghini, maybe a few Ferraris in the garage, and McLarens and all that stuff, and mansion, maybe selling online courses, who knows. But this guy came to Jesus and he was like, tell me what is it that I can do to inherit the kingdom of heaven, so to enter the kingdom. And let me go back to the actual words here. So he said, what must I do to inherit eternal life? So what he was really asking is like, what can I do to be worthy of getting eternal life or entering heaven? And Jesus asked him if he was following the commandments. The guy said, I am. The guy was also a great guy. He was giving out to the poor. He was doing all the things right. But what Jesus told him was that he had to sell all his possessions. So he had to sell all his Lambos, all his mansions. And once he was done, give it out to the poor, and then come back, pick up your cross and follow me. And the ruler legit felt sad, the story says, and he walked away. It doesn't say if he sold them. I don't think he did, or my pastor would have told me in an earlier conversation we had today. But the guy didn't sell anything. And the way I see this story, right, it could be about riches and people like not wanting to let go of their money, or how one second, let me charge this camera because it's about to die. Sorry, I had to charge the camera because it was dying off. But so he was asked to sell his possessions. He didn't want to do it. And again, like, you can take this as the rich don't want to let go of their money, so they will never go to heaven, blah, blah, blah. And that is one way. But the way I was seeing it this morning, especially when it comes to worthiness, is that the young ruler drew his self-esteem and sense of self-worth from the possessions he had. And if he sold those things, that meant that his status, the respect from his colleagues, maybe the admiration from people, maybe like from women or the young guy, would be gone in a second. And just like that, he would have become a nobody. Like someone that wasn't worth respecting, and he was going to lose it all. He was going to lose his self-esteem. And But what Jesus was offering him was a healthy way to draw self-esteem from, which was going to heaven and following Jesus, picking up the cross, following Jesus. And that is the thing I want to dive into. Because when I was looking at this, dude, I was like, okay, how am I? Jesus is not asking me to sell my possessions right now, but where am I drawing my self-esteem from? Right? And am I willing to sell that? Am I willing to trade that off to follow God and follow Jesus? And for me, dude, my self-esteem, it's like, and I'm just being vulnerable here and open and transparent. My self-esteem, I feel like for a while, I've been getting it from trying to impress the wrong people by showing them that I'm successful, that I got it figured out. And the other way I would just doing it is from the past. I would draw my self-esteem based on past experiences. So things that have happened in the past, whether they're good or bad. And the problem is that one, if I'm drawing my self-esteem from the past, dude, I cannot change the past. I made mistakes. I wasn't good enough. I wasn't up to par. I didn't know any better. Like I said, I made mistakes. But if I'm drawing my self-esteem from that, like, how can I how can I influence it? How can I change it? How do I increase it? How can I even feel better if I'm drawing my self-esteem from something I cannot even change or do anything about? Number two, I was doing it for, the external validation of people and what they would think of me. But this is another one. The volatility of people's opinions of us, dude, is insane. Because to some people, I might be a success, but to people who are more advanced, dude, I'm a failure. I'm a big failure because I'm just out here starting out and barely cracking something. But that's the thing. So when I thought about it, it's like, okay, so if I my self-esteem from that, am I willing to sell that? Am I willing to put myself out there and struggle and show people that I don't have it figured out? And because that is what really happening here. And now the takeaway here is that what Jesus told the guy is like, pick up your cross, sell everything, pick up your cross and follow me. So in a sense, let go of whatever you are drawing your self-esteem from. And for you, I don't know what it is for you, but I would think about it. Is it from people that you know? Is it from the past? And are you willing to let go of that? And are you willing to sell it? Are you willing to sell it? Cut ties with it. Come to Jesus and pick up that cross. And what that cross looks like, I'm going to give you my thoughts as a Christian now, and then I'm going to give you my thoughts as how it relates to copywriting and business. Because what he says is, pick up your cross and follow me. Following God is something I want to do every single day. And what that means for me is becoming the best version of myself and behaving like the man he's called me out to be. And if I am doing those things, I do feel like it's a healthier way to draw value from and say I am valuable because I am behaving like the kind of person I want to be. Because I'm a man of integrity. I'm an honest person. I work hard. I show up. I do things even when I'm scared. Those things build your self-esteem. That is way better than saying, dude, I love myself because people think I'm successful, or because people now see me that I am winning in life. Because, dude, one day you're winning, the other day, dude, things can change overnight. How this relates to copywriting, it's like maybe your self-esteem and your value and your worthiness is attached to you not having clients, or you never having clients before, or you never being in a position to write a piece of copy, or you never being in a position to build a business. And if you draw your self-esteem from that, trust me, you're gonna struggle. But if you make the flip and the switch to draw your self-esteem and your value and your self-worth from taking action every single day, being in integrity, going above and beyond for every single one of your clients, becoming a person who figures it out, becoming a learner, being an honest person, somebody who's not gonna cheat the clients that you get, somebody who's not gonna burn bridges, somebody who's actually investing in themselves to better themselves, dude, your self-esteem changes. Your self-esteem, you're gonna feel like you are going to operate from a different frame. It's gonna be more power. It's gonna be different. And And that's what I wanted to share with you. And that's and again, this comes from my Christian beliefs. That's how God has restored my self-esteem and my sense of self-worth. And what it looks like for me now, like doing things even when I'm scared. That's the biggest one for me, because God's, I feel like, not I feel, I know God has a purpose, and I'm included in those plans. And some of those plans, you know, He called out my strength, but He also called my weaknesses with me, and I have to make myself a fool sometimes. Show that I figure it out. Show that I don't have the skills to make videos yet. And when I do that, man, at night I go to bed, and I go to bed at peace, knowing that I gave it all I got, knowing that I gave it all I had. I'm not wondering if people thought I sound smart, if people will clap for me, because dude, I don't care, man. I don't need that. I don't need that. And that is why I'm overwhelmed with gratitude with God for restoring my sense of self-worth, because I draw it from things that I can control. And it's by me taking action and the choices, the free will I have, and also, by locking in with God and just doing the work He has for me. And again, I only been a Christian for 2 years. I might be completely wrong about my views of the world, but I'm clinging to them because they're working for me. And your personal walk with God is personal. And this thing works for me. And I'm sharing this in hopes that you might find somebody who was like me at some point, very introverted person, very shy, grew up poor, comes from a background of poverty, and is trying to make something of themselves. And yeah, that's what I believe in. And man, this is it. I'm gonna continue with my fast till tomorrow, 5 p.m. It's mad scary to do it because, dude, I'm already starting to feel hungry. And on Saturdays, I usually go out, eat, get some croissants. And right now, I'm only eating. Well, these are the only things I'm having is sparkling water and some coffee, and that's it. But I hope this video was valuable to you. And yeah, peace out.